Hello and welcome to Let's Discuss Workplace AI Technologies, brought to you by the Center for Inclusive Change. I'm your host, Carrie Miller. In this episode, we'll be getting inside the benefits and harms of AI-determined automated coaching bots. Let's discuss. So I'm old enough to remember when our approach to coaching and mentoring was conducted by humans for humans. Remember when we were allowed to breathe on each other in the before times? Well, now we can't breathe on each other anymore. And we're seeing AI-based coaching and mentoring solutions supplementing what humans were doing. And let me just tell you right now, some of these systems are good and some are not so good. So let's dig in a little bit and sort them out. AI coaching and mentoring systems are showing up in many aspects of the employment lifecycle. In my opinion, these systems can be positioned in a chart along two axes. Along the horizontal axis, we have coaching specificity, and along the vertical axis, we have management visibility. Now let's fill in the chart with some products that are making their way onto the market, shall we? We'll start with the low-risk products, like mentoring bots that help coach middle managers or even senior leaders on how to be better managers, or even career coaching bots that help people find ways to better their skills, maybe improve their business acumen to advance their career desires. Most of the time, this input and output is not reviewed by a supervisor and it's kept fairly private. Then we get to wellness coaching bots designed to help, keep employees from burning out. So generally, these are private, but you have to watch to see who gets to see the data and how long the data is kept. So those are generally okay, unless there's data problems. Then we have inclusion coaching to help us be more inclusive in our approach with others. So it's more likely our bosses might see these results, but not always. So they kind of edge up in our little chart. Then we arrive at the riskiest coaching bots on the market. These fly under the banner of training or customer improvement initiatives. So they give very, very specific directions to the users, and the output, aka the algorithmically generated advice, which often means where the AI decides that maybe an employee screwed up, is fully visible to the manager. So here we see coaching on tasks, customer service phone calls, maybe sales, to name a few places. These are risky because they start to strip away employee autonomy. They generate feelings of oppression, micromanagement, loss of employee voice. Employees start to feel like they don't really matter as much, that their work isn't important when the focus shifts more to the machine than to them. So you can see that the trend line here is that the higher the visibility with the boss seeing the output, the more specific the advice is that's coming out of these tools, the riskier the technology becomes. The less the boss is involved, the more general the advice, the lower the risk to the employee. Now, let's clarify for a minute. We've got a lot of AI working in several realms here. So I'll give you 3 different examples just to get you up to speed. First up, we have AI in a customer care setting, listening to every single word and providing very specific real-time advice based on emotion, which is very suspect in AI. In the second scenario, we have AI used to match mentors, sort of a recommender system, if you will, like Netflix. So they're matching mentors with mentees, and then they're listening to the call and then providing some key insights after the call is done. Totally different than scenario 1. And then in the last scenario, we have AI reading your emails and your messages to provide relationship coaching advice at key moments, like right before you go into a meeting. So this is used for leadership coaching. And so it'll give you a little bit of relationship advice on how to be a better manager overall. So lots of different uses of AI going on in these different coaching and mentoring bots. Now, one thing that all of these systems have in common is that they almost always make a disclaimer about using your data, or rather your employees' data, to, quote, improve their system, which sometimes is another way of saying invent new products to sell to you with your own data already embedded. Isn't that thoughtful of them? All right, so let's talk about governance of these little coaching bot friends we've got here. First things first, always get feedback from your stakeholders. Second, always do a trial run, preferably with no obligation to commit. You don't know what you're going to find. And then in the procurement phase, this is where you really need to buckle down. You're really going to want to ask hard questions about the efficacy of that technology. There's a lot of research out there about whether or not AI can really think like a human, right? So press the provider to show you exactly what data they use to train these bots and what testing they've done to prove this is absolutely a true claim that they're making. And lastly, your contract is your golden ticket in the governance game. Be sure to include a big old clause in there on corrective action. If the AI spews out some like weird or untrustworthy answers, you're going to want to make sure they have the ability to go ahead and look into that and correct it quickly. You're going to want to ask for visibility to version control, updates, release schedules, release notes, maybe even pre-release opt-outs or approvals, and quarterly AI performance metrics, not just uptime. We want AI specific performance metrics noted in that contract. And the mother of all contract clauses in AI governance, tell them what they can and cannot do with your data. When do they need to delete it? Who can see it? What can it be used for or not used for? Be specific. And that's it. That's our discussion for today. Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another workplace AI use case discussion. Have a wonderful week, everyone.